Hi, welcome to my channel. I will be very grateful for your support. Subscribe to my channel, and let's start. Shadow over the rift. The fog rolling down from the mountain ridges was unusually dense that evening. It seemed almost alive, gliding over rooftops, coiling around street lamps, whispering forgotten names. In the ancient city of Arden, where magic had long been part of everyday life, such a sight rarely surprised anyone. But tonight, the fog felt foreign, distorted, as if guided by some malevolent will. On the central square, near the frozen fountain bearing the city's crest, stood a lone figure. A dark blue cloak hid the face, but in the stranger's hands pulsed a crystal, flickering with jagged light. For a moment, the light flared, and the fog around him shuddered. The stranger spoke a few words in an ancient, long-forgotten tongue. Something cracked in the air, like a fissure spreading across space itself. The crystal went dark, and in the next second, the figure vanished, as if it had never existed. A few minutes later, a young woman, in a gray traveling cloak, stepped out of the alley. She stopped, frowned, and examined the marble at the base of the fountain. The stone had been slashed, as if by claws. "This is interesting," she whispered, touching the fissure. Her name was Leona Harta, and she was the best detective in Arden. Chapter 1. Tracks in the fog. The fog refused to disperse. On the contrary, it filled the streets as if trying to conceal something. Leona walked unhurriedly. Every detail, every scent, every vibration in the air was part of a greater pattern. She believed any mystery was a tapestry. It only needed to be read correctly. Tonight, the pattern promised to be especially complex. She crouched near the crack, running her fingers along the sharp edge. The stone was cold, but she sensed something else, faint traces of magic. Not ordinary, dark, forbidden. "Leona," a familiar voice called. She didn't turn, only smiled faintly. A tall young man with copper hair and a sack of tools jogged up. "You started without me again?" He grumbled. "Kel, if I waited for you at every step, criminals would surrender out of sheer boredom." Kel Turson was a mage technician, talented, chaotic, perpetually involved in something explosive, yet reliable to the core. He leaned over the crack and whistled. "Whoa, this is serious. I know. And ancient. I know. And dangerous. Kel." He raised his hands. All right. I'm quiet." But his eyes gleamed. He could feel the power in the fissure too. "There are traces," Leona said. "Someone stood here recently, but no footprints, no scent. It's like the person appeared from thin air, or disappeared into it," Kel added, and both knew the second option was far more likely. Chapter 2. A visit to the archive. The archive of Arden lay underground. Some believed it was built atop old catacombs. Others insisted it was the catacombs, merely rebuilt by mages of old. Leona agreed with the latter. "You're sure we need to be here?" Kel eyed the heavy doors. "Yes. If such magic has surfaced in the city, the archive knows something." The caretaker, an elderly mage in an olive-colored robe, met them inside. "Detective Hart, it's been a while, and judging by your expression, you're not here for leisure reading." "Unfortunately not. I need access to the ancient scrolls from Arden's founding era." The caretaker grimaced. "Those documents are sealed and guarded. That's why I came to you." He sighed, clearly sensing that trouble, possibly, of the dangerous kind, was about to fall onto him, and led them through a long corridor. Inside the vault, the air felt dry and dusty, as if time itself refused to move. The caretaker unlocked a heavy chest and withdrew a scroll bound in dark blue. These texts mention the rifts, but be warned, reading them is unsafe. Some records affect the reader. Leona carefully unrolled the scroll. Her eyes darted across the lines, and her breath caught. It spoke of beings that lived between worlds, of those who could move through space itself, of those who must never be summoned. But the worst part, beside the drawing of a hooded figure, she recognized a symbol. the same symbol engraved on the fissure beneath the fountain. "Kel," she whispered. "I see it. Damn, Leona. If this is true, it is true. We're dealing with a summoner." But summoners died out centuries ago. Then someone decided to bring them back. Chapter 3. Tracks of the Summoner. When they left the archive, the fog had grown thicker. It felt as if it were watching. "I have a bad feeling," Kel muttered, "like something is walking beside us. But we can't see it, because it is the fog." Kel froze. "Please tell me that was a metaphor." "I wish it were." They walked through narrow streets, staying close. Leona constantly felt a faint cold on her skin, a sign that magic was near, very near. Suddenly she stopped. "Kel, look." On the wall of an old building, beneath peeling plaster, glowed a strange symbol, the same one from the scroll. Leona touched it, and the wall trembled. An arch opened before them, a passage into another world. "Leona, please tell me we're not going in. We have no choice." She stepped forward. Kel followed, although his face clearly said he would regret it. Chapter 4. City Between Worlds. The other side looked nothing like Arden. Leona found herself in a city where buildings stood at impossible angles. Shadows moved on their own, and the sky was torn by cracks of light. "This is..." Kel struggled to speak. "The Verge," Leona said. "The world between worlds." They moved cautiously. Everything here felt wrong. Even their footsteps sounded distorted. Then a figure appeared ahead. The same figure. Dark cloak. Hood. "You were not meant to come," he said in a low voice. "You damaged Arden Square. You open rifts." "Who are you?" Leona demanded. The man lifted his hood, and Leona froze. His eyes had no pupils. They glowed with starlight. "I am not your enemy. I'm trying to save your world." "Strange," Leona muttered. "Saviors usually don't hide in fog." He smiled sadly. "The fog is protection, and I do not open the rifts. I try to close them before it's too late." Kel stepped forward. "Then who does?" The stranger lifted a hand and pointed into the darkness. "She." A female figure stepped out of the shadows. Pale skin, eyes black as moonless night. She seemed woven from the fabric of space. "Pleasure to meet you, Leona Hart," she said, her voice echoing with hundreds of tones. "I am the summoner of the rift." Chapter 5. Those Beyond the Edge. "Why are you opening rifts?" Leona asked, stepping forward. The summoner smiled. "Too wide, too cold. Because the worlds must unite. What is divided must become whole. That will destroy both worlds." "And who said their fate should concern you?" She tilted her head, studying Leona. "You're smart. Quick. You could help." "Never." The summoner waved her hand, and the ground trembled. Kel barely kept balance. "Stubborn. But that can change." The stranger in blue stepped between them. "You will not harm them. You've interfered long enough," the summoner hissed, raising her hand. A burst of darkness flashed, but Leona was already moving. She grabbed Kel's hand. "Run!" The world began collapsing. Shadows stretched, reaching for them. The sky shattered into fragments. They sprinted toward the arch, back home. Just before crossing it, Leona heard a whisper. "You will return." Chapter 6. Arden in Danger. They burst back into Arden. The arch sealed behind them with a snap, as if the air itself folded shut. Kel panted. "Leona, we are so screwed." "Yes, and deeper than we thought." The archive caretaker found them minutes later. "I sensed a magical surge." "What have you done?" "We found the source of the rifts. And we have an enemy." The old man paled. "Then the city is in mortal danger." Fog swirled overhead, forming a vortex above the square. The summoner had begun her work. Chapter 7. The Final Pattern. "What do we do?" Kel stared at the raging magic as if at an incoming storm. "We stop her," Leona said calmly. "You have a plan?" "Yes." She turned to him. "Remember the crystal in the archive? The one that amplifies magical flow?" "I remember, but it's unstable. We need to redirect the rift into itself. Close the loop." Kel understood instantly. That could kill us. Or save the city. They nodded. Energy raged across the square. The summoner stood at the center, beautiful and terrifying. It's too late, Leona, she said. The worlds are already close. You're wrong. Leona lifted the crystal. The summoner realized too late. Kel activated the artifact. Light tore the air apart. The world shook, and the rift collapsed. Chapter 8. After the storm. When the light faded, the fog thinned. The square was in ruins, but the city was alive. The summoner was gone. Only faint traces of magic lingered. Kel dropped to the stones. I thought we were dead. Me too. The stranger in blue appeared again. You achieved the impossible, but she is not gone. She will return, and we'll be ready, Leona said. He nodded and dissolved into the air. Kel sighed. So, detective, work found us again. Seems so. Leona looked at the sky, where remnants of magical storm slowly faded. She knew this was only the beginning. Epilogue. That night Leona sat by the window, watching the city. Arden was calm for now, but somewhere, beyond the world's edge, the summoner was preparing a new plan. Leona could feel it, and she was ready, because she now knew the shadows of the rift never vanish completely, and only those who dare to face them can protect the light. Chapter 9. Whispers Beyond the Border. After the events on the square, Arden lived in unease. Magical patrols doubled their shifts. Citizens avoided nighttime streets, and taverns buzzed with rumors about the Woman of Shadow. Leona walked the streets like a strategist across a chessboard, every threat, every possibility arranged neatly in her mind. But the more she searched for the summoner's traces, the more she understood their enemy was ahead. Far ahead. Leona, look at this. Kel ran up, holding a crumpled sheet. They found this on the outskirts. On it was the same symbol, but altered. Thicker, sharper, as if trying to say more. It's a warning, Leona said, or an invitation. On the back, written as if with ink spilled from the air itself. The rift is not closed. Kel shuddered. Leona, it's her. Yes, and she wants us to know. Which was the most troubling part. Chapter 10. The Missing Mage. The next morning a messenger arrived from the northern lands with shocking news. The missing researcher mage is alive, he reported, breathless. But he is not alone. Leona and Kel hurried to the northern tower of the council. There, in an isolated room, lay the mage, the same body they'd seen in the mine. Only now he breathed. His eyes were closed, but his fingers trembled, as if trying to speak without words. This is impossible, Kel whispered. The caretaker stood beside him, nervously tugging his beard. He returned the moment the rift collapsed, as if something released him. Leona approached. What's his state? He is between worlds, neither here nor there. But when she touched his hand, he gasped and whispered. She is not alone, then fell unconscious again. Chapter 11. Fragment of Truth. She is not alone. What does that even mean? Kel asked for the 100th time. That we should expect someone worse, Leona replied. But she was thinking of something else. If the summoner didn't act alone, then someone even stronger was behind her. Someone waiting. In the evening, fog returned, soft, inviting rather than hostile. Leona stopped at an old bridge. A silhouette appeared. You came, said a familiar voice. The stranger in the dark blue cloak. Did you send the letter? Leona asked. No, but I know who did. He raised a hand. Space trembled. Fog parted. A girl stood there. Young, 16 at most. But her eyes glowed with the same starlight as the stranger's. Who is she? Leona asked. She is the one who sees the boundaries, he replied, and the one who knows what is coming. The girl stepped forward. The summoner is just a piece. The real game begins now. Chapter 12. Revelation. They moved to a quiet garden outside the city, guided by the fog. The girl spoke calmly, as if discussing the weather. Rifts are not windows. They are paths for those long imprisoned. By whom? Kel asked. The stranger answered. By your ancestors. Leona frowned. Mine. All of yours. Humans once sealed away those who could reshape the world, those who called themselves creators. And now they want to return? Kel asked. The girl nodded. Rifts are their voice, their attempt to break through. The summoner is only a conductor, and a new one will appear soon. Leona felt a chill. Who? The girl looked directly at her. For a long moment. You. Chapter 13. Chosen or doomed? What? Kel shouted. Leona, are you insane? The girl didn't move. You have the same gift. You feel the rifts. You can close them, but you can open them too. I would never, Leona began. Not yet, the girl said. But the power is awakening. The stranger approached. If you do not learn to control it, the rifts will find you. I don't serve the darkness, Leona growled. No one said you must, he said gently. But if you become the next conductor, the world will fall. Kel grabbed her shoulder. We won't let that happen. The girl inclined her head. Then you must go where the path of the creators begins. Leona narrowed her eyes. Where? Beyond the boundary. Chapter 14. Journey to the source. The stranger created a portal, unlike any rift. Alive, yet calm. Light breathing like an ocean. This is the source, he said. The birthplace of magic. And the place the creators came from, the girl added. Kel swallowed. So, we're all going there. Yes, Leona said. If I'm part of this, you're coming with me. He sighed. Of course. Another catastrophe. Why not? They stepped into the portal. Chapter 15. A world before worlds. On the other side stretched a landscape that felt like reality taking its first steps. Buildings grew from the ground, constantly shifting. Trees shimmered in colors that didn't exist in the normal world. Symbols floated in the air, alive and watchful. This is incredible, Kel whispered. The girl nodded. Everything here is possible, and everything is dangerous. Leona felt something inside her resonate with the place. Her heartbeat matched the rhythm of the magic around them. Why me? She asked quietly. The stranger spoke softly. Because your bloodline is the last capable of maintaining balance. Chapter 15. The creators. They reached a gigantic arch with a whirlpool of light at its center. Then Leona heard a voice. Not external. Inside. Child, you have returned. She staggered. Who are you? The girl turned pale. They have awakened. Transparent, towering figures stepped from the light, woven of pure energy. The creators, the stranger whispered. They fixed their gaze on Leona. Your heart knows our voice. No, Kel shouted, shielding her. She's not yours. But Leona no longer heard him. She heard only the call. Chapter 16. The trial. Light engulfed her. The world vanished. She stood in darkness. Not empty, alive with voices. You can open the path. You can close the path. But only one choice saves the world. What must I do? She cried. The answer came instantly. Choose. Two symbols appeared. One, the sign of the rift. The other, the one from the letter. The choice will decide the fate of all worlds. Chapter 17. The decision. Leona stood between the symbols. She felt the pull of each. Whatever she chose, the world would never be the same. She closed her eyes, thought of Arden, of Kel, of everyone who depended on her, and stepped forward. Light exploded. Chapter 18. Consequences. She awoke in Kel's arms. Leona, you're here. You're alive. She looked up. The girl and the stranger watched her anxiously. Did you make it? He asked. Leona nodded. Yes, I closed the path. But something new flickered in her eyes, something not of her world. She has changed, the girl whispered. Not only the path is sealed, the stranger said grimly. She carried part of the power with her. Kel stepped back, shaken. Leona? She met his gaze. I'm still me. But her voice echoed faintly in the air. Epilogue 3. A new edge. When they returned to Arden, the world looked unchanged. But Leona knew better. She could feel every rift. Everywhere. And she knew. A closed path did not mean the threat was gone. The creators had not vanished. They were waiting, and she had become part of their power. Divided things cannot remain forever, she whispered. But I will protect the boundary. And the story went on. Thank you for listening this story. Please comment and like this video. I will be very, very grateful for your support. Hope to see you soon.